Hello everybody, and welcome to another edition of Executive Insider. I'm Chris Kay, the New York Racing Association CEO and President. And today my guest is the Senior Vice President of Racing Operations, Martin Panza. Martin, welcome.
Hi Chris, thank you.
And Martin, welcome to the New York Racing Association. We were fortunate enough to be able to recruit Martin to come and fill this new position of Senior Vice President of Racing Operations last fall. He started in November, and he has made a significant impact in the brief time he's been here. But before we get into that, Martin, please tell everybody a little bit about your racing background.
Well, it started many years ago. My next door neighbor one day invited me to a picnic to go to racing at Santa Anita, and so I went to the races that day and just fell in love with the sport. And moving forward from that, I went to the University of Arizona to the racetrack management program there, and moved from college on to working in Southern California at the racetracks in California, Santa Anita, Del Mar, Hollywood Park. I spent the last 20 years at Hollywood Park as the Director of Racing, Senior Vice President of Racing there. I've also worked for the folks in Dubai as the North American representative for Dubai Racing. Worked as an advisor for the Breeders' Cup. Also, I'm on the North American Ratings Committee, so we rate all the graded stakes races throughout the country. So I think I have a pretty well-rounded background in racing.
You mentioned a couple things that I think are very important. Number one, when you were running the track at Hollywood, you came up with some new days. And number two, you mentioned that you have been working with the folks in Dubai. How do those two experiences intersect in the creation of the event on July 5th, Stars and Stripes?
Well, I think through work, I've been fortunate enough to go around the world and be able to see racing in England and France and obviously in Dubai, and quickly recognize that probably the future for racing, or the future for New York racing, would be the creation of big events. And when I was at Hollywood Park, we wanted to create a race or something that would be an event for Hollywood Park, and we realized that around the world we could create a race for 3-year-old fillies, which we called the American Oaks. And we took a day that was handling $12 million and we turned it into a $25, $30 million day. And so coming to New York, we'll look to try and do the same thing on July 5th. We've created the Stars and Stripes Festival, which is the Belmont Derby and the Belmont Oaks, which are turf races for 3-year-olds. And these are races that will not affect what we do at Saratoga, but will help us create another large day of racing at Belmont Park.
And to what extent will you be bringing horses in from other countries to participate and compete in this event?
For this first year, it looks like we're going to have 9 to 10 horses coming in from Europe. It's been fluctuating. We were as high as 14 earlier in the week, but it's a good deal. We've got horses coming from England, from France, from Ireland this first year, and it's a good starting point. And once these horsemen come here and they get comfortable with New York and the process, we hope that they will bring other horses for other races during the year. So it's sort of a building, for the future, and just one step at a time. What we'd hopefully like to do is to try and build 4 or 5 large days in New York with championship racing on those days. And I think this year's Belmont Stakes Day pretty much showed America what NYRA, what New York Racing Association is going to do moving forward. And so each year for the next 4 or 5 years, we'll try to grow another one of those events, whether international horses are coming into those races or we just are drawing from the American horses. I think we've shown that it can be done. We went from a record of $110 million on Belmont Stakes Day to $152 million. So I think we've realized that that is a proper business model to follow. And now it's just a matter of trying to figure out on days such as July 5th or August 2nd, Whitney Day, or August 23rd, Travers Day, what other races we can group on those days that minimizes the effect of other days we already have, but also helps us to create these so-called big event days in racing.
Well, Martin, thank you so much for you and your team for creating an incredible card on Belmont Stakes Day 2014, a must-see event. We look forward to seeing these international horses compete here at Belmont Park on July 5th, and also for great racing at Saratoga. Thanks to you and your team.
Thank you.
And thanks for coming to this edition of Executive Insider.